All right, so we're good.
All right. Good morning, everyone. We wanted to bring the community up to speed as to developments we have made on this shooting that occurred Sunday. And so I've asked that the captain and the lieutenant who are handling the actual investigation to come forward to speak with you. I have also asked our executive director of Crimestoppers to come and address you again. We have received Crimestopper information. We continue to want to encourage this community to be partners with us. Please be partners with us. And we know with thousands of people out there that you have information. And we need you to share that information because this is not a completed investigation. And yet at the same time, we have made significant progress. And I do appreciate really the tireless work of the men and women who 24 hours now have been working this nonstop. And I've personally have gotten to witness some of the investigative action. And with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to the captain who can give you some specifics. And yet do keep in mind, as you ask a question, that this is still ongoing. Okay, so I'll turn it over to Captain Dupree. She is the captain over the 5th District, which is where the second line event occurred.
Captain Jennifer Dupree, Captain of the 5th District. As you know, we had 2 shootings yesterday. First shooting was at the 1800 block of Almonaster, in which 10 people were shot. The second incident, which they are not related, was the second incident on the bridge at Almonaster in Florida, in which 3 individuals shot, 2 were deceased. In the last 2 days, we have been working tirelessly with our state and federal partners on this, and in conducting 8 search warrants. We've collected 4 guns at this time and made 1 arrest of a person of interest on unrelated charges at this time. The charges have not been in relation to the shooting, but again, he is a person of interest. In addition to what was spoken about on the shootings, there was a talk yesterday about a hit and run of a pedestrian. We had so many officers out there that as soon as there was the person was hit, we did make an arrest on that. But I continue to encourage the community to step forward with any information that they have on this or any videos they can provide or tips. We've been working these tips tirelessly within the last few days, so I thank the community on that. Again, Crimestoppers, you can upload video and information. The reward's up to $5,000, 504-822-1111. Any questions?
We're going to actually have
Go ahead, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Darlene, if you'll share.
Sure. I want to echo that the community really has stepped up, and I want to thank you. And thank you to the media for getting this information out yesterday as quickly as you did. We saw tips start to come in as soon as the news aired, and the officers, like the captain has said, has done an amazing job investigating every single tip. So let me talk about the people who are sending in tips. This is what we're looking for from you. First off, if you want to provide additional information, allow us to talk to you through our chat system. We will do that. We will post questions back to you. If you leave that tip open, we'll be able to communicate with you. I do caution people, though, that if you're trying to give us information and say, okay, well, would you give us a little bit of, dollars to be able to kind of incentivize us to talk to you, that's not the way Crimestoppers works. Okay, we talk to you, we get all the information that we're able to provide to law enforcement. Again, we can post questions back to you. And then if your information leads to that arrest and indictment, in this case, there's $5,000 on each incident. So if your arrest comes to, the arrest comes to us through your information on both the first incident and the shooting, the mass shooting, it's $10,000, $10,000 cash. So I just want to be very clear. The other thing that we're asking you to do is, besides sending just photos of possibly people in the crowds, if you have information on who maybe passed a gun, if a gun was dropped somewhere, if a gun was hidden somewhere, or if you know that somebody took a gun from a possible shooter, that weapon is incredibly important to the evidence chain. Give us that information. That does earn you a cash reward. Thank you.
Okay, and Captain, you can come up for some questions. I will say to you that our ability in this police department to find the perpetrators and actually bring them to justice is at a national high. And so the likelihood of you being caught is very, very great. We still have leads that we are not sharing with you. And so we know that we are close to making arrests in this situation. Our technology is incredible. And we are able to tie these guns, shell casings and everything to any crime. And so that is why it really is just a matter of time. Plus, there were thousands of people out there. Someone saw this. And so even if you're the perpetrator and you want to have second thoughts about the action that you took, you could come forward. And it would be better for you to do so. But our ability to find you is very high. So questions?
We're gonna start from Fox 8 and we're gonna work our way around. We'll have one question.
And
One question.
Lieutenant, why don't you come up as well? He's the lieutenant of the investigations.
Who's asking a question for Fox 8? Because I see two of you here.
Ask a question.
Okay.
As far as the mass shooting that we're talking about today, any word on whether or not that was a drive-by? I know there's still a question about the car that was in.
We're looking, we have information on that. We cannot release at this time. You will get it. But we're looking at all of that.
And the
Okay.
warrants and the guns, were they found at the scene or any more
I'm
details?
going to trust what you.
Multiple
wish.
locations, but the entire incident's still under
Should
investigation.
we say it?
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's
I'm
it.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, multiple locations. When I read it, that's at this time to disclose all that information, but it will be released whenever, as the investigation continues.
Okay. 4.
You said that you arrested one person of interest. Do you have your eyes on any other potential suspects? And how far, you said you're close, but how far are you from making those arrests?
Well, I can't say, you know what I can tell you is that we have leads. And so they are actionable leads. So when we say how close, kind of depends, but it is something we can work. Yes, we did make an arrest. The person that was arrested, we have not tied to the shooting, but, and so we need to make a distinction, but we could say that the person is a person of interest.
Okay. Who's that? Sophie? Advocate, I'm sorry. You have a question?
Which shooting is the person of interest related to?
The shooting at 1800 block of Almanaster.
And will NOPD be releasing the name of the person of interest?
Not at this point.
Who's that? GNO?
Superintendent Kirkpatrick,
Yes.
this Sunday, men and lady buck jumpers, second line, very large one in Central City, next week, the Main Street Gang in Tremay. Is Department A concerned that any of this carries over to these big second lines? And B, is there a different plan for protection from the department this coming weekend?
So we, the size of the second lines are a challenge, not second line. And I want to distinguish and reiterate for the community, second lines are a part of our culture. They're going to remain a part of our culture. The issue is keeping them safe and the strategies of how to make them safe. But the manpower issue, making sure that we can cover as much of the large second line. We had 100 officers out there Sunday. That's a very large contingency of this department. And yet we'll have to look at, could adjustments be made that maybe the community could help participate and helping play a role in the safety as well. And I know tomorrow night there will be a meeting that the council member Thomas has pulled together to have a conversation, not to point blame. This is how can we have a conversation to make it safer. So yes, just like any event, we will also look at gaps. Are there gaps or areas that we can improve? Yep.
6.
If you could, okay, so you said that multiple guns were found.
Yep.
Was that the mass shooting where multiple guns were found in different locations?
The evidence that we're referring to, the search warrants and the guns confiscated, is everything is in relation at this time to 1800 Almanaster,
And so that's the shooting where 10 people.
where the 10 people were received gunshot wounds.
Also, just when it comes to the person of interest who was arrested, is there any other information? I know you can't release their name, but is there anything else that you could tell us about that person? Why they're a person of interest?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Thank you all for coming out. We appreciate it. As we get further information, we will release it to you. All right?
Can I just get clarity on one issue? When the second line is called, is it Is it determined to be an actual parade, which would make it a gun-free zone, or a second line's a separate entity? I'm just trying